All right, we're going to begin our French Revolution lecture. Make sure you follow along with your notes. Here we go. Okay, so you got major characters. We're going to cover two things. We got the aristocracy. We'll come back and we'll fill out that blank. And then we've got some major characters who represent the aristocracy, the upper class, the wealthy, the elite, right? So we've covered Marie Antoinette, the daughter of the Habsburg ruling family of Austria, who marries the inept King Louis XVI, who inherited the throne as a boy and struggles to rule this empire of 80 million people from 1774 on. So the one you need to fill out is Jacques Necker. So for Necker, make sure you take down these notes. Oh, you don't have Necker. Oh, you already got it. Okay, so Necker's Louis' finance minister who encourages the estate's general meeting. Remember, France is bankrupt, so we're going back. We got to think back to our first semester. France is bankrupt. Louis' grandfather spent all their money on wars. Marie Antoinette spent all her money on jewelry. And the third estate has been taxed to death, right? And now the first and second estate are being called by Necker. He thinks it's a good idea to tell the people to come to the estate's general meeting so he can tax Louis and him, and the government could tax the second estate and the third estate, right? And then they'd have, all right, I didn't say that right. The first estate and the second estate, the upper estates, right? And then one thing you're going to do for each character, because you've noticed during the revolution, either you live or you die, obviously. But during the revolution, there's a special type of death, the guillotine, right? So after each character, you're going to put lived or guillotine. So Marie Antoinette, guillotine. King Louis, guillotine. Jacques Necker, he lived. Danton, you don't have that one, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you do? Oh, you do have that one. Okay, so we're into the revolutionary leaders. So this one's done for you. Former Jacobin club. He's an extreme radical. You read about him. He's good friends with Robespierre. And eventually, as the revolution goes, Robespierre becomes more and more powerful. And they gain more and more control. And we'll talk about that. But he becomes the voice of the revolution. But eventually, he turns on Robespierre. And he's guillotined as well. So the point is, we need to know these characters and who they are. And that's why we included them. But essentially, at some point or another, almost everyone is guillotined. So the rest of the characters, you're going to get them throughout the lecture, and then you come back and use this to review, okay? So come back to these and do a short one-sentence write-up for each character, and then describe whether they lived or whether they were guillotined. So that brings us to the major events of the revolution. And when we get to here, right before we get there, 15 minutes, that's when I run out of time. That's when my lecture ends, so let me know when I'm getting real close to the end. So, backtrack. Major events of the revolution. We got the storming of the Bastille. French tensions are mounting, and the people say, we need gunpowder, we need guns. So they storm the Bastille for the gunpowder. And Louis' response, increase royal troops throughout Paris, basically prepare the city for a revolution. And this leads to what we call the Great Fear. Peasants throughout the countryside, they start rising up. They think this is their chance to change things, right? So they start overthrowing their noble landowners. And this happens throughout France. We see peasants rising up and thinking the revolution is on, and they kill and they pillage, and they try to change society right away. A man who becomes very important because of his power through the media, the newspaper, Jean-Paul Marat, l'ami du peuple, the friend of the people. So he writes a scathing, radical newspaper, and he writes against the aristocracy, right? Necker, Lafayette, King Louis. He writes radical papers about the revolution. Interesting piece. At one point, he's forced to hide in the sewers of Paris. So this leading newspaper is somehow orchestrating this newspaper while he's hiding in the sewers of Paris. He meets his death in a bathtub, so he was he had some infatuation with water. He dies in the bathtub when a young lady named Charlotte Corday kills him with a knife because she thinks that will end the craziness in the revolution. She stabs Marat to death. We'll get there in a second, though. 1789, it's all about bread. Women march on Versailles. Marie Antoinette nearly escapes death. Response, more troops, more troops. National Guard organized, and Paris militia. So they have a volunteer army, essentially. So If I were to ask you, if you were to see a question, it says true or false. The women played a role in the French Revolution. True or false? True. True or false? Women's voice was powerful in terms of documents and people listening to them during the French Revolution. True or false? False, right? We're not quite there yet. We're getting there. Women's voice is becoming a thing, but it's still not respected, unfortunately. Yes? August? Do you guys have August? Oh, we're getting there. Okay. We should get there. You guys have these ones? Yeah. You should have these. That's right. Skip that one. 1790. Jump ahead to 1790. So, Danton, we talked about him. He becomes the voice of the revolution, master orator. It's all about information, getting information out and convincing people that the revolution is right. In July, they rewrite the Constitution, and they create the constitutional monarchy. Same time, the Roman Catholic Church, by law, can no longer appoint its own members. They're appointed by the state. So you're going to read a document called the Civil Constitution of the Clergy. And this is a change, a transition where the French radicals, they say the church can't appoint their own leaders anymore. They're going to be voted upon, and they're going to be elected from this point forward. So the church is very upset about this. Also, religious freedom is given to minorities like Jews, like other groups, but church property is taken. So church owned a lot of the property, right? The Catholic Church had 20% of the land or something like that. So one of the things the revolutionaries wanted was the land taken from the Catholic Church and given to the pagans. And this creates a situation where the church is very upset and they feel like they've been wronged. And it begins a revolutionary war, essentially. Remember, this is really important. It's not like a revolution happens and everybody in all of France is on board, right? No, France is very divided. So you got groups who are loyal to the king and they say, we should never do this. We're an absolute monarchy, we should stay that way. And then you got a lot of third estate members who are like, revolution now. We must change the way society is. And then you got people in the middle. You got people all over the place, just like we have people who are all over the place on different issues, right? Like gun rights, for instance. There's a lot of people who are like, yes, you have to protect your Second Amendment rights. Give people the right to bear arms. You got a lot of people who are like, no guns at all. And then you got people somewhere in the middle, right? So issues are never black and white. It's always a bunch of different places. All right, so we're going to start our government tracker. I'm going to pause our video. Hi, Amy. Hi, Stephanie. We're back. You're going to have to get the government tracker notes later. And, all right, so we're back to our major events. I got about 5 minutes. We'll stop at 2. Oh, I only got like 1 minute. All right, we're going to get through this. Major events of the Revolution, 1791. So, like I said, the king's sitting around. He's being forced to sign these documents, right? And it sucks because he's had power his entire life, and now he's being told what to do. So him and his wife, they try to get out of there. If they can make it to Austria, where Marie Antoinette's family is, because she's the heir to the Austrian throne, if it were to come through a female line, then she can, basically, her and the king could rebuild power in Austria together with the Austrian Empire, the Habsburgs, and then they could reclaim France. So they could escape for a while, King Louis could build up his army, and then they could come back into France and try to take power again. But it doesn't work because they're busted. And that makes matters worse because then the people say what about their king?
Traitor.
He's a traitor. He's a dirty, rotten traitor, right? They say not only is he a weak, inept, irresponsible king, but now he's a traitor and he wants to partner with the Austrians. So in August 1791, at the same time, this is interesting because if you think about the power of ideas, if a slave were to take this idea, right, the ideas of the French Revolution, the American Revolution, what would they say about their freedom? So, okay, sorry, I'll be more specific. So, so the third estate, what do they want in France? They want equality, liberty, and freedom, right? And then you've got thousands and thousands, over 50,000 plus slaves on the island of Haiti, what we know as Haiti, but it's a French colony at this time. It's called Saint Dominique. So the island of Haiti has hundreds of thousands of French slaves at this time, right? And they get the news. They get the news of the French Revolution, right? And what are they going to say? They're going to rebel. So, in Haiti, a man named Toussaint L'Ouverture, he applies the words of the Declaration of Rights of Man to 50,000 slaves, and they revolt. And they're actually able to lead a successful revolution, the only one in the New World. So, today we know it as the island of Haiti, but at that point, it was a French colony, right? And the slaves were able to actually overthrow the huge French army that was there. All right, I'm going to stop there. Perfect. Okay, analysis question number 1. So your analysis questions, if you flip to the back. Right here it says Persia analysis questions. It kind of outlines what category they fall under in terms of Persia. So this question is a review question. And you're going to answer that one for homework since we got through it. And then I'm going to post a little bit more of this lecture online. But we're going to stop there for now. All right? All right, feel free to say whatever you want. Go ahead.
Bye! Cut.
Cut. So in addition to what you have for homework, we're going to do a comparison to elephants. And we want to look at different types of elephants. So we're going to start with African elephants that are in love, like these two. So if you notice these two, they're entangled at the tusk, which means love has occurred. It's beautiful. Love is in the air. African and Asian elephants. So when an African and Asian come together, the elephants, they form a beautiful bond. And we want to compare that to the bond between the republic and the constitutional monarchy, okay? So, I don't know, what do you guys think? 4 to 5 paragraphs?
Yes. MLA format?
MLA format? 4 to 5.
Oh,
Do tomorrow.
We don't have it tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Do Friday. Do Friday. All right.
You have quiz tomorrow?
Yeah.